Keep you focused.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Delve Requisite here on Proficiency Bonus. One of these weeks, I am going to go live like 2 seconds before I give the countdown to these guys so that I unwittingly trick these fools into yelling their profanities at all of you instead of just me every week. But that aside, happy Tuesday.
That would imply that we care.
I don't think that's true. I think you guys definitely care about insulting our viewership. You definitely don't give a shit about me, but that's besides the point.
They can know it's directed
Matt,
to you whether they hear it or not.
Listen, Matt, to me that's not a threat, that's a challenge. So
We
just
know,
be
we
really
all know,
careful
we all know
about
you
what
guys don't have
ask
any
for.
respect for me, but you at least have some respect for the viewership.
If we don't have respect for ourselves, you think we have respect?
Listen, I know what I'm about. I don't require respect. I require as much
We'll show you
hostility
get it.
at all
Continue.
times as possible. Before this goes any further off the rails, let's thank our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle Games. Little Dragon Corp is a Canadian-based dice company. You can get a link to their website by typing !Little Dragon in chat at any point during tonight's stream. You can get a 15%, it's changed, 15% discount on your order by using our code BONUS. Just bonus now. We've what did I say last week? We took 15% off the promo code and passed that savings on to you, or whatever it was. 15% off your order with code BONUS at Little Dragon Corp to get some dice like my world famous green screen dice. So thank you to Little Dragon Corp. And Cardboard Castle Games is, of course, a brick and mortar tabletop gaming store located in the United States in Evans, Georgia. Fear not if you are not local to Evans, Georgia, because they understand the power of the internet. They have the power of God and anime and the internet on their side, and they can send you things via the mail if you decide to order something from them. So thank you to Cardboard Castle Games! Exclamation point! Oh, you can get Pokemon cards. Are those Cardboard Castle game Pokemon cards, or those Pokemon cards that like have definitely been just like in your vicinity for 25 years?
Yeah, closer to 30, but yeah.
Yay, our childhood is dead, and we're all slowly aging and creeping towards the
Hey,
grave.
fellow millennials, how does it know to feel that we've lost the game?
Hey, we did it again.
I hope
Oh, snap.
Man,
Is
if
my-
I wouldn't totally have
Pokemon
screwed up the
cards.
stream, I would have just exited out of Discord right there.
Yeah, I mean that would have been. That's valid. I am realizing now that we are live that I have a few things I need to fix on the overlay. Where in the hell is?
But yes, you can get Pokemans and Magic cards at Cardboard Castle.
Hang on. We're getting there. Okay. One of these is definitely Victoria. There it is. I'm just gonna shuffle that right over so that Victoria is not 3/4 of the way out of the frame. Perfect.
That
We
was my
fixed
bad,
it all,
sorry.
and everything is saved forever. Anyway, you might be noticing that this is the Pirates again. If you are a regular viewer who comes in every week looking for the on-off schedule of our Pirates on our Fool's Errand, psych, it's Pirates twice. As we approach sort of the end of our current arc of our campaign and get ready for the both groups are rapidly hurtling towards Terra Libra here. I'm just playing it loosey goosey, and it seemed like these guys who have not been to this city before probably needed to be given a little more time to kind of explore it and things like that before the other group kind of rolls in here, as they've already been here, so they don't have as much running about to do. So, Brittany, it's your time to shine. Let me proceed with that recap.
Okay. So last week, the group of the Grimm's Folly did a little bit of a flashback as we returned to the moment after Kier had eaten the sentient crab that had been sabotaging our ship. After that moment, we decided to actually discuss how the heck a crab became sentient enough to sabotage our ship, and also added that to the list of things to talk about with the Naporian leaders and the people at Terra Libra. further discussion around Captain Macbeth's new abilities with the Naporian spiritual leader Minako also took place, and Scylla prepared the divination spell to guarantee that the Grimm's Folly ship would be safe from further sabotage while we were away in Terra Libra. Nimue visited with the twins, showed them a secret swimming space that her family often frequented, and also took a trip to her family home, where she took a sash that belonged to her mother and looked for clues in her brother Aiden's room. Eventually, she spoke with her father, who gave her some important documents detailing Naporia's history, as well as their willingness to be allies with Terra Libra in the face of Ignean hostilities. With a magical portal splitting space and time, the group, along with Aora Veshta, the orcs of the Longtooth tribe, and the Mithlindian guard Gregory, that we'd found shipwrecked some time ago, stepped through the portal and found themselves in Terra Libra, meeting Tori and Adrian for the first time. And that is where we left off.
Close our upside down books. I noticed Russell was doing a bit about 2 seconds before the end of the end of the intro. Okay, yes, thank you. That is where we left off. You all are in Terra Libra. I mean, as far as you know, you're in a building right now. So that is kind of what you have to go on. You find yourself standing in a large, sort of like a great hall. It is a wide, very high-ceilinged, almost cathedral-like chamber. It has these arched, stained glass windows along each side of the building. It is largely empty right now. Seems that perhaps this space is used for various things at certain times, but when not in active use, seems to be mostly kept clear. There's really not much furniture or anything like that to speak of. It is adorned with tapestries and banners and sort of like silks hung from the ceilings and the rafters in the gold and green and gray that is the Ordinum Librae's colors. The only features really that you see in the room are behind you guys from like where you kind of popped through this portal. There is a large set of double like oaken and gilded doors that lead presumably like out of this chamber to the outside. There are several sets of doors like along kind of the sides of the chamber, and then there's another 2 pretty large sets of doors to the back of the chamber. In the very center of the chamber, there is a like marble inlaid disc on the ground that is like 25 feet in diameter, and placed right at the center of it, at the dead center of this chamber, is this like hefty, well-worn, like beaten upon anvil. The only other people in the room besides the group of you and the people that you brought with you as soon as I turn the volume down enough so that I can hear myself think. Better. The only other people in this chamber right now are Riker, the large, animated golem metal man who came through with you, and the individual who at the very end of the last session kind of like grinned widely when he saw you come in. He is a half-elven man with long, very like well-coiffed platinum blonde hair, wearing all black robes gilded in fine golden patterns. He had smiled at you and said, "Welcome to Terra Libra. I have been waiting so very long for your arrival. I am Tori and Adrian, and we are going to do so many interesting things." And then he sort of like blinks twice and like looks down at his shoes, and he looks back up at you and he goes, "Actually, is this the first time we've met? This is the first time we've met, right?" He goes, okay. Yes, you're not... No. We didn't... There was a forest, there was a campfire, I teleported... No, that was the other ones. Sorry. He, like, regains this sort of, like, composure, and he says, I've been spending a little too much time not in the here and now recently. It tends to make things a little... fuzzy. He says, but, no, I'm fairly certain I know what's going on. I have made preparations for this. Yes, okay. And he turns...
Redbeard leans over to Nimue and goes, this is a load of barnacles.
He turns
I'm so
to...
fucking confused.
He turns to Aora Veshta, and he says, Miss Veshta, I am immensely relieved to see you returned to Terra Libra unharmed. The ordeal that you have been through must have been atrocious. Magister Kalruk is expecting you and is prepared to do a full debrief on your experience within the Empire. You can, you know where her office is. And, Aora Veshta is like, yes, I am familiar with it. Are you alright, Magister Adrian? And he says, pish posh, nothing. Converging realities, threads of possibility. It's a whole thing. I've been very busy. It's fine. It's under control. You, feel free to see yourself to Magister Kalruk's office. She is expecting you anytime. He kind of gestures towards the group of you. He says, the Magister and the other Council of 8 are going to want to speak to this group as well, but that is probably not going to happen for at least a few days. There seems to be a war on. The orcs. And he turns away, and Aora Veshta kind of, like, looks, and she sort of starts to back away, and she leans in towards, Rowan, I guess. Maybe she's, like, close to Rowan. And she kind of leans in, she says, I'm going to talk to, one of the other Magisters, Mishkalantia Kalruk. He's not usually like this. I'm not sure what's going on, but in general, usually you can trust him to be pretty on the ball. If he says that we will meet again and all of this, I'm sure it'll be fine. She kind of looks, and you can kind of tell she's like, I think. And she turns to leave. Unless anybody, like, stops her or anything like that, she's going to head out of this chamber towards one of those two doors, like, further in.
Can I insight check this guy? Like, even before she went over to Rowan, when he's like, I got all of this under control, it's fine. She's like, that's a red flag.
Yeah, you can roll an insight check.
When she says, like, normally you can trust him, normally he's on top of things, I'm just gonna look at... Uh-oh. What did I
Nat
do?
20.
Ooh, okay, with a nat 20, can you make me an Arcana roll, please?
Ooh, sure. Let's do I use the same die? No, I don't. Let's use my Naporia die. It's pretty good. My Arcana. Okay, 17 total.
Okay, so with the nat 20 with the insight roll, as you look at this guy, like, what is he doing? You get the sense that he's definitely in sort of like a manic state a little bit. He seems a little discombobulated. You don't get the sense that he's like, he has any ill intentions towards you, or he's deceiving or intentionally trying to, like, obfuscate anything from you. But you do, like, something kind of, like, jogs in your memory as he says, like, he's like prattles for a second about, like, converging realities, threads of possibility, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't know if you've necessarily encountered this directly before. That can be your decision. But at the very least, you probably have heard stories that there is a certain school of magic. Actually, a school of magic that you are kind of is in the forefront of your mind because Sela just practiced a form of it. A school of magic called divination magic, which involves the, like, peeling back the, like, the weave of reality and, like, looking forward in like, time and space at, like, all sorts of, like, possible, like, futures and stuff. And you know that practitioners of this type of magic are kind of, like, it's risky. It can do funny things to the mind if, like, overindulged in, or if practiced, like, irresponsibly. You get the sense, based on his, like, ramblings and his behavior, that, like, there's maybe some, like, he might be, like, in the, you know, he might be a practitioner of that branch of magic. You know, that's certainly not far-fetched based on where you are.
This is probably jogging mine and her memory. Is divination something that, like, the visions that she got?
Could be. Could certainly be.
Okay.
Not out of the realm of possibility that, like, the things that you were being shown would be within the, like, the branch of a divinative type of experience.
And if he's been doing, like, a shit ton of these type of, like, acid trips,
yeah,
fuck with the mind.
it's sort of like that. It's the type of thing where, like, if you spend too long, like, Doctor Stranging it, looking at all 13 million possible futures, like, it can sometimes be hard to remember, like, what the here and now is and, like, where you're at.
Okay.
So you get the sense that maybe that's the situation with this guy.
All right. I'll probably relay that mentally to the party members.
Okay.
When she sends that to me,
I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay.
I will. I'll just send back to her what Aora said to me about, like, he's okay. You know, according to Aora. Just let it be.
So you guys are kind of having this, like, back and forth mentally. As you're doing that, he is addressing the orcs, because as Aora walked out of the room, he, like, snapped his attention to the orcs, and specifically, he looks directly to McCrawl. And he goes, yes, okay, orcs. If I'm not mistaken, I'm usually not, he says, you, and then, like, instantaneously he switches to Orcish, and to McCrawl, he goes, Amaranth Fever, and McCrawl kind of, like, raises an eyebrow and says, for those of you who speak Orcish, which I know Nimue does, and any who speak Orcish, you would understand the exchange that took place was Tori and Adrian said, you come to this place seeking medicine for what ails your people, the Amaranth Fever. And McCrawl says, you are a strange man, and I do not know how you know these things, but I am intrigued that you speak our tongue, and yes. And he says, very good, yes, I've made arrangements for that. He turns, like, to his left, as if he's, like, expecting somebody to have been standing there, and when there's not, he goes, damn, I knew I forgot something. Rika, would you be so kind as to go fetch one of the stewards? These fine, Orcish bulls of the Longtooth tribe, if I'm not mistaken? McCrawl nods. He says, these fine orcs have an appointment set up, not too very long from now. You'll need to get a steward and tell them that they are to bring the orcs. Hang on. They are to bring the orcs to Sanradarket. He is. checking all my notes here. He says, have a steward bring these orcish fellows to the ward. They have a meeting set up with San Radarket. I've already prepped him on the situation, and I have made arrangements to provide them with the medicine that they need. He turns back to you guys again. He says, okay, so the Order of Eshta is debriefing with Magister Kalruk. Our orcish friends are being taken care of. They will get their medicine. You all have questions. He turns to you, Nimue, and he says, at least one of you has something extremely interesting to provide to the Ordinum, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'll pull out. Is it like a box?
It's like a
Scroll?
like a rolled scroll, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull that out. Kind of look at him skeptically, but upon realizing what's going on, I'm like, yes, it's here.
He says, yes, good. He kind of looks over the group. He says, yes, okay. You all
Question, do we
have...
wait 3 days to have this over, or what?
Sorry, what was that?
This scroll. You said we were meeting someone in 3 days. Do I have to wait 3 days to, like, discuss everything?
He says, no, we can make a separate arrangement for your, for that. It is, unrelated to, a rather momentous meeting. However, you're a little early. Well, you're on time. There's some other folks who are running a little behind. And the the Council of Eight, they don't do anything on anyone's time but their own. And for what is to come, all of this works better if we get everyone in the same room. So I've made arrangements in 3 days' time for that conversation to take place. And yes, so before that, several of you have questions, things that are on your mind, things that you want to do while here in the city, and the city will be open to you. You can see to your business, Miss Nimue, Captain Murderbeard. I believe you have some arcane research that is of interest to you, as do you, Mr. Thysis, and you are in need of a codex specialist, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct.
And he looks to you, Sela, and he says, there's something in the city that I think will interest you, but spoilers. Anyway.
I apologize. The air in this place is just a little heavy. I'm used
dry
to
books.
being out
Yes,
on a boat.
it does that. You'll get used to it. Actually, there's an apothecary you can visit that can provide you something for that if you wish. Speaking of that, though, you don't know where you're going. This is an enormous city. It's quite complicated. There's a lot going on here. And in fact, as I said, there are some people who need to be here for the meeting that is to come that are running behind. And I need to be somewhere to waylay a group of Ignean infiltrators who in a day and a half are going to severely mess up their time frame if something is not done. So I'm going to do that, but Rika, I believe, would be more than happy to be your guide around Terra Libra for the few days that you have to kill here before everything kicks off, as it were. And he looks to where Riker was, and then seems to remember that he sent Riker to go fetch a steward. He goes, damn it. He'll be back in a minute. We can take care of this while we wait. And he gestures all of you over, and he goes, come, this way. And he starts walking over towards that anvil in the center of the room. And
I
he gets
follow?
there, and he looks back to see if anybody followed him.
Yeah, we
I
followed him.
followed.
I'm like side-eyeing everybody because this is
Yeah, I think-
weird, and this guy talks really fast. We'll follow.
Out of
I think
game
mentally,
comment.
I'm like, how the fuck does he know all of our names? What the fuck?
Out of game comment, Matt, I hate you. These notes are gonna be a nightmare.
he comes over to the anvil and he says, "Okay. And you see he, like, as he kind of, like, takes that deep breath, he seems to, like, center himself a little bit. And he says, all right. Right now, the building that you are standing in is the main keep of the Ordinum Libri, located here in Terra Libra. He says, this structure is called Ladrius Keep. He says, this building contains the council chambers for the Council of Eight. It contains private workrooms, libraries, quarters of many of the members of the Ordinum Libri. It is sort of our home base. It also contains a pack of extremely unexpected dogs that tend to make appearances when you're not expecting them. That may happen any moment. Who knows? He says, Ladrius Keep is the inner sanctum for the Ordinum Libri. It is located on the northwestern bank of the city of Terra Libra, which you are now in. Normally, most portions of Ladrius Keep and the campus of the Ordinum Libri are located here. This portion of the city is called Ordinum Rise. Normally, most of the buildings and things here are restricted to Ordinum members or associated relic hunters for our organization. However, the group of you are something of a special circumstance. The experiences that you have recently had within the Empire and events to come facilitate that certain exceptions need to be made. He gestures towards the anvil that he's standing in front of. And he says, this anvil is an artifact of ancient dwarven manufacture. It comes from a time prior to the Invarian Empire's subjugation of the dwarves of Krasyadur. It is an oath-binding anvil. I won't bore you with all the details. The long and short version of this is that it is an artifact upon which special plates are placed, and they are struck with a enchanted mallet, and embossed with essentially a magical contract. We use this for all members of the Ordinum Libri who wish to join the ranks, and we bind them to certain I suppose non-aggression contracts, oaths, essentially magically binding agreements that they will, through their efforts, not attempt to harm the Ordinum Libri or the people of Orahol with their work. The Ordinum Libri, at its core, is dedicated to being a force for benevolence, and it is important, especially with the sometimes extremely delicate level of power that are worked with by its members, that precautions are taken from that purpose being corrupted or harm being inflicted upon innocent people because of what is done here. You are not being invited to join the Ordinum Libri. I don't think you want to join. Fair enough. Phyxis, maybe. At least for right now. That's not what we're dealing with. But you are going to need to be able to move freely throughout the city and throughout certain aspects of the Ordinum Rise. So these, and he takes, you see there's like pressed, like, iron plates with arcane engravings on them that have already been, like, seems like they've already been, like, hammered. He says, think of these as visitor's passes. And he begins to, like, pass one out to each of you. He says, keep these on your person at all times. At least while you are within the Ordinum Rise. These will signify that you are a legitimate guest of the Ordinum Libri and will protect you from certain defensive enchantments on certain restricted portions of some of our campus. There are areas where you will still not be permitted to tread unaccompanied, but the tablet will grow warm and emit a tone if you are wandering anywhere that you are not supposed to be. I strongly suggest, if that happens, you about face and head elsewhere from wherever you had currently been heading. He says, does all of that sort of make sense?
I think so.
He says, fair enough. Short version, visitors passes, lets you move around the campus. Still make sure you don't go into places where, say, arcane mages are doing things that might accidentally get you erased from all time and space if you walk into their chambers at the wrong time. That sort of thing.
All right.
He says, okay, so that completed, and he kind of looks around, and you see Riker is sort of like moseying back into the chamber. He says, that taken care of. I am on a schedule, and I'm going to need to depart from here very shortly, but I can try to answer any questions that you might have in the immediate, and after that, I will put you in the very capable hands of my good friend here, who can guide you around the city wherever you wish to go and serve as your sort of chaperone, chaperone, sort of.
Where
Anyway.
do I take this?
He says, yes, that. He says, you probably are going to want to bring that to the head of, he says, probably the head of the branch Historia of the Ordinum Libri. That is a gentleman by the name of Holt Leomond. He says, you can find him in the Terra Libra Public Library. He runs operations there. He is the head of the law keepers at that facility.
Curiosity. All of the things you just said about my friends here, did Miss Veshta tell you all of that, or is that part of your I know things that I can't explain right now because we don't have time bit?
He says, bit of both. No, Aelra Veshta did not tell me any of those things. But I do have enough time to explain those to you. I am a practitioner of divination magic. I utilize that skill set to locate individuals with certain sets of skills or talents. Normally, I apply that trade to call it talent scout potential relic hunters for the Ordinum Libri. I also apply that trade in what I would like to think is the pursuit of the betterment of the forces of not imperialist shitbags. And times have been a little tough lately. So I am perhaps stretched a bit thinner than I would be. But needless to say, you all have been at the center of some very, very intriguing events, and it is my belief that you have an important part to play in things that are unfolding now in our world. So that's how I know who you are and things about you. The end.
Fair enough. I was just a little bit thrown off by how much you seem to know before we even said our names, so just checking.
He nods and he says a blanket apology, I suppose. In a sense, I have intruded upon your autonomy. I have been following your adventures for quite some time, more closely so since the events on the slave ship that brought the group of you together. I have mostly refrained from intervening, but I have at the very least been keeping tabs.
And when will you be back if we have more questions? I'm sure we'll have more questions.
He says, I should be back briefly before the meeting in 3 days, which is to take place. We can speak more then, and afterwards we should have as much time as is necessary.
But
Some of these wild dogs I was talking about here.
Stealth dog butt.
He kind of looks and he says, anything else?
If I wanted to talk to somebody about what's happening religiously currently in the world, who would I speak to about that?
What is happening religiously currently in the world? Are we talking strictly in the academic theological sense, or are we speaking sort of in the calling down the divine wrath of the light from above theological sense?
Just everything's sitting the fan, and how is everybody handling it in the religious sense? Kind of just blanket what's happening right now, because I haven't been able to get in touch with anybody, and things are a little weird.
He says, probably, I would, if you're already heading that way, you could talk to the lawkeepers at the public library. They tend to keep, well abreast of, sort of current events throughout the realms. It is part of their duties. They oversee the sort of, amassing and archiving and redistribution of, information and knowledge that the Ordinum brings in. The relic hunters are also fairly well up to speed on what's going on throughout the kingdoms. They travel quite a bit. He turns. He says, "Riker can help you with all of this. The relic hunters can be located in Kestra Hall, or the Relic Hunters Hall, as it's more colloquially called." But yes, questions about things to do and things to see and that nature, I would direct those to Riker. If you have any sort of existential questions about the nature of reality, no, we don't have time for that. Anything else for me directly? If not, I will be off. He kind of looks, and as you guys seem nothing is. Wait, was somebody say something?
I said I think we're good here.
Okay. Yeah, as nothing seems to be forthcoming, he says, "Excellent. If I leave now and move at a light jog, I can keep an elderly man from falling off of a curb and breaking his hip in about 15 minutes. Good day to you all," and he runs out of the building. Sort of a swish of a black and gilded gold cloak behind him. As he just jogs out of the room, opens the door, and disappears out into the exterior, leaving you guys alone with Riker, who watches him go and then kind of turns to you guys and he goes, "That was pretty weird. He's... In a way, it was kind of better. When he's on his game, he's usually pretty smug. And it's not great all the time. So that was weird, but kind of humanizing a little bit. Anyway, yeah, so I guess I'm supposed to help you guys and lead you around the city and be your tour guide. That's pretty fun. I can do that.
Cool. I guess I need to go to the library. library. I don't suppose, Riker, we could find any information on Pendragon at the library.
Yes. I don't know what a Pendragon is, but you can find information on a lot of stuff at the library, so it's probably not a bad idea.
I say we go there.
Start at the
Well,
library and then figure out where we have to go after that.
Wait, where does Spikes need to go?
He needs a codex person? Is that also at the library, Riker?
I mean, we could try the library. Who'd they say, Holt?
Holt.
No, Holt
He's a
was
lore
at
keeper.
the library.
That's the person I need to hand over the scroll to. I don't know about Codex. Riker, do you know about where to find a Codex person?
Holt Leomund is probably not a bad stop. The Ordinum Libri is broken into several branches. The branch Historia is the lore keepers and the individuals who are mainly tasked with trying to archive and preserve all of the written texts and various treaties that exist with the kingdoms. Liam and Holt leads those individuals. They're called the stewards. If he doesn't know, he can probably point you to somebody who does. Failing that, we could always pay a visit to the and he like goes and moves over and he checks your guys's like the things that that you were given, those like guest passes deals, and he says we could always go check in with Magister Volodov at the workshop. That's not code breaking, isn't really his specialty, but he's pretty handy and he knows a lot of people, so he might be able to help you out too. We can certainly head right to those things. The library and the workshop are both here on the Ordinum Rise, so we won't even have to leave this portion of the city to check in on those things. Unless you guys want to get your bearings about you first, maybe find a place to stay, something like that. I know if I was you, I would sort of be a little bit reeling right now, as you guys came through a portal, and then a very spastic man vomited a lot of information at you, and then ran out the door. But we can go wherever you want.
Is this still Riker who's talking?
Yeah, I didn't turn the robot back on.
Yeah, you
Oh,
lost
yeah.
him, robot.
I'm a robot! Hey! I said all that!
I was just checking. Riker, now you said that this establishment has a lot to do with, like, restoring the resources and text of the kingdoms. Does it have anything to do with the ancient Invarian Empire? Is there any information kept here about that?
Oh yeah, a lot. That's sort of how the Ordinum Libri got founded.
Oh, damn.
I wonder, is there anything... What would be modern-day Glasgow? Is there any information kept here about that territory?
He says, I don't know what Glasgow is, but the public library doesn't have everything. It has a lot of things. The Ordinum is very committed to the fact that information and knowledge and art and culture and the sort of collected works of the mortal races are not things that should be hoarded or kept, so they are pretty open with making sure that anyone can have access to the things that they have gathered, so long as they're not considered dangerous or capital E evil. So if there is information, it would be a pretty good bet that you'd be able to find it at the library. If not, there are some private libraries here in Ladria's Keep that, even though you guys won't be able to access directly, as you're not members of the Ordinum, we can certainly ask some people, and I'm sure someone would be happy to look into it for you.
Hey, thanks.
Of course. So it seems like you guys are looking to go to the library. Is that where you want to head?
Yes, that's probably where we need to go. I know it's been a lot, but like at this point, this is kind of on track for us, huh?
Yeah, for as weird as of a half hour, how long have we been here that it's been? I think this is kind of standard for us at this point. We should just go to the library.
I'm gonna mentally message Rowan, do my connection. I don't know why, but I keep thinking about that little girl on Glasgow since Lexus brought it up.
I will respond. I keep thinking about him saying that thing about Droplet. The name sounds weird, but
Droplet and
there's a lot
seeing
that's been
things, knowing she's not coming with us until later.
You know, I'm just kind of stuck on the fact that it sounded like Willow knows the future, which is freaky enough, and that she, you know,
Like,
that
is
we
she
left her
talking to
there.
that crazy guy?
What if she is the crazy guy?
You just hear her like cackle off into the distance, like
Which sounds really awful in your head.
Yeah.
On the record.
I know.
I imagine she probably accidentally just laughed out loud. So it's like,
Yeah,
Rowan just was horrified, so we're just quiet and like all
like
so
sister's just like,
laughing.
Matt's,
Nimue
laughing
laughs.
at it, but his palms are sweating right now.
As Nimue like accidentally laughs out loud, Riker goes like, I don't know what we're laughing at, but you guys seem fun.
Yep, for a happy crew.
Are we?
I will
now.
give you guys this as you sort of like ponder on that sort of train of thought. The way that like Willow behaves and the way that Tori and Adrian sort of just was with you guys. I mean, Tori and Adrian was more like manic, whereas Willow seems to have been more like
In control.
she was just more like not necessarily in control, but very like dreamlike and floaty. Like there was less of a accelerated effect to it, but that sort of like tenuous grip on like the here and now. It does kind of like strike a similar chord between your interactions with Willow and your interaction with Tori and Adrian just there. As if maybe there is a divinative process going on that is affecting Willow in some way.
Shall we start at the library? And if we need to come back here and ask somebody to dig into deeper files that we don't have access to, we can do that.
Right.
But we
Go-
can at least start where we
Go
can
to the
start.
head if we need secret access.
I look at Thixus.
Can I speak to your manager, please? Okay, thanks.
I look at Thixus. You ready to go spend the day reading?
oh, absolutely.
Sila, are you going to come with us to the library, or did you have somewhere else that you were considering?
I don't care.
Okay.
She's like she like her, you know, the little like flutter of the jaw muscle. She's like she's not even trying to hide it. She's like
She's not happy.
livid. She's very unhappy. Since that guy was like, oh, I started taking like more of an interest when you guys were enslaved, implying that he's been watching for longer, and she's literally
Yeah.
just been like bald fists and like anger.
Yeah.
She's not. She'll just follow wherever anyone else is going. She doesn't care.
Okay.
Texas will actually hold up that little card that he was given
Mm.
and say, kind of like look down at it and then look up at you guys with like this almost tears in his eyes
Oh.
and say, most of the time they kick me out of places like this. This is the first one of these I've ever had.
A library card.
Don't lose it. You have a library card. Don't lose it. It's a big responsibility, Texas.
Texas grips it very tightly.
You got this, buddy. You got this.
All right. So Riker leads you out of the big main doors to Ladria's Keep. And he says, so we're here on the Ordinum Rise. This is the portion of the city that is consisted of the Ordinum Librae's main buildings. He says we just left Ladria's Keep, which you heard a little bit about. If you look over that way, you can see Kestrel Hall. That is the Relic Hunters Hall, where the Ordinum's Relic Hunters sort of make their central base of operations. I don't think your guys' guest passes give you access to the hall is free, but some of their specialized chambers, like the quartermaster or the hall steward, I don't think are going to be accessible to you. That group of buildings there is the Ordinum University. He says that's Spine Rose Hall. That's the main academic building. That sort of tall, narrow one there, that's Walthorpe Hall, but most people just call it the Ward. That's where Magister Samardar Ket practices magic that is related to sort of healing and correcting physical injuries, as well as mundane medical arts. They're a pretty major hospital for the city in general, as well as a pretty big research facility for arcane and mundane healing stuff throughout the city.
Texas is like full tourist mode right now. He's like right on Riker's back.
Riker, would our passes get us into that healing ward? I know
Oh,
that isn't that
yes.
where the orcs went too?
Yes, that's where Magister Adrian sent the orcs to meet with Magister Ket. You actually don't even need those passes to get into Walthorpe Hall. That building's open to the public. A lot of the buildings here are open to the public. It's really just the places that people who don't have a lot of experience with the sort of arcane type stuff that gets dealt here might get hurt, that they're restricted from. But Walthorpe Hall is open. You can go there anytime you want. He says that that kind of large blocky building, that is Shalamas Hall. Those are the dormitories for the students who are attending the university. Up ahead of us there, just on the top of that rise, that is the Terra Libra Public Library. That's where we're headed. He says that building is open to the public. Any member of the Ordinum Librae has full access to the building. Any resident of Terra Libra has access to their archives, and any visitor that comes here to our cities. That is where the stewards operate out of. They mostly resign themselves to the collecting and archiving of information, but they also have a branch that is involved in the civic upkeep and social programs that are run here in Terra Libra by the Ordinum Librae to sort of uplift the population and make sure that the city and its citizens are well cared for and supported. The university is one of the largest in the Five Kingdoms, and unlike most of the other Five Kingdoms universities, where they teach magic and mundane arts, the tuition fee that is paid by students here is set on an individual basis, student by student, and is the result of appraising the individual cost needs of their particular area of study. So essentially, the cost to attend the university here costs only exactly as much as it will cost to educate you. The Ordinum Librae does not turn any profit on any student at the university. And in fact, it subsidizes a lot of the cost of the tuition. Riker brings you kind of past the past Walthorpe Hall, past the ward, past the dormitories, and he brings you to the large building, the Terra Libra Public Library. You enter into the main front doors. It is a wide open building with a lot of like sort of off-shooting little hallways into like sort of round like tower structures that on the inside are, these rounded alcoves of lined with books. There's like those tall sort of like rolly library ladders everywhere, and there's people like scooting around on them picking books off of high shelves. There are dozens and dozens of like tables and reading nooks and places where people can like bring their books and look at them and transcribe things and whatever else. There is a main sort of like directory, like a front desk in this area here, and he leads you guys over to it, and he says to the person behind the desk, he says, "Oh, well, good morning, Lord Keeper Rannis." And the woman behind the desk says, she kind of looks at him and she says, "Oh, Riker, good morning. How are you today?" "Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm being a tour guide today." "Well, that is certainly a less labor-intensive job than hauling support beams for construction around all the time." "Oh, well, yeah, but I don't mind it. I like helping build things. That's not important. These people are here, and a couple of them at least probably could benefit from a conversation with Lord Keeper Leomund. Is he around?" And Lord Keeper Rannis says, "Yes, I believe he's on the property. I can go fetch him and tell him that you're here to see him." "Oh, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll just wait right here." And as the Lord Keeper trots off to another portion of the building, he says, "That's Lord Keeper Rannis. She's really nice."
Did she say that you were hauling big things for construction?
"Oh, yeah, that's my job."
But your job today is to show us around.
This is more of a volunteer thing. When
You said
I'm
support beams?
Yeah, the Ordinum, the stewards that I was telling you about, they're constantly working on upgrading and adding and building and sort of bringing up the level of the infrastructure here in Terra Libra. And so there's always something being built. Well, he says, not to brag, but I'm pretty strong. And I like the work. It's, I don't know, I find it nice to make things sometimes. So I work with the stewards, and I help with construction projects around the city.
So that's your main job? You do mostly construction?
Mm-hmm, most of the time.
That's amazing. I used to help my stepfather in construction as well with support beams.
He kind of looks at you and he goes, Says, I always think it's really...
I'm not obviously not as strong as you. I just had to use other means, and Thanks just kind of turns away. Mistakes were made.
Oh no.
He says, well, just because you're not big and broad doesn't mean you're not strong. He says, strong doesn't just mean lifting a big beam with muscles, or whatever I have instead of muscles. It's all sorts of strengths. if you helped with building and anything else, I'm sure you're strong in your own ways. That's important too.
Very true.
You should go into motivational speaking as well.
I don't know about that.
Might make some pretty good money, I'm just saying.
So a few moments later, a kind of an elderly human man comes up. He has he's bald on top. He has sort of like fly away wispy gray hair on the side. He wears the sort of the tabard of the Ordinum Lore Keepers. And he says, "Ah, Riker, we told you here. You bring me guests. To what do I owe the immense pleasure of all of your company? I am Lorekeeper Holt Learmond. You can simply call me Holt. There's no need for any pretense here. What brings you to the library today? How can I be of assistance?"
Well, there's a few things we need to get done. The first thing, I come representing the nation of Naporia, and they want me to bring this to the Ordinum in a potential neutrality pact. They wish to join.
Oh, Naporia, you say? Fiercely independent people.
The Empire has forced our hand.
Ah. That is...
They are directly targeting our nation, and we need allies.
More to this than a simple pact of sharing of intel. I will take your scroll if you will. He takes it. And he says, "If you will permit, it will take me a little time to review this, and it seems that there are other implicating circumstances in this situation. It will likely need to be discussed by the council. I have heard some of the news of what is happening to the east. Troubling indeed, and I am deeply sorry for..." He looks at the scroll and he says, "It is forever my hope that shared desire to preserve traces of who we are and the marks that we made on this world would be the thing that brings us together. Ordinum is not an organization, I believe at its heart, is one that takes without freely offering in return. And it... well, I wish that Naporia had felt it could come freely with this, and not as a...
I will say
who am I
that...
but a rambling old man?
No, you are right. You're completely right. And the newer generation of my people would probably agree with you. But it's the old elders that are still in control. And for them to even make this step in the first place, to even hand it over willingly, says great lengths about the willingness to try. So I am very proud of my elders for at least letting go of that stubbornness a little bit.
Well, forever, whatever it is worth, I never think the free sharing of thoughts and ideas is a bad thing. I hope that in time your people will find they gain just as much, if not more, from all of this than what they may feel they are giving up."
I hope they will too.
He kind of tucks that under one arm, and he says, "Well, was there anything else that any of you needed while you were here? I can help you peruse the shelves if you'd like. I can point you in other directions, or I can leave you be and be on my way."
Well, we need...
Well, Holt, I have I have this, and I pull out this book that I don't understand. And I set it in
He
front
reaches
of
out
him.
and he says, "May I?"
Just be warned, it's the penmanship of a madman.
He sort of smiles a little sadly, and he said, if the writings of madmen were a foreign concept to me, I would not be much of a lawkeeper. It is an unfortunate side effect of my job." And he opens and he kind of...
All written in bubble letters.
Yeah, it's written in Comic Sans. He flips through it. He says, "Oh, truly evil."
Papyrus.
He says, "Oh, this looks like the work of a true madman, rivaling even the evils of those who practice puppetry." It's a joke that only Russell probably gets, since I call back to the other group. He says, "No, it's written in a cipher, undoubtedly the unique personal codex of the arcanist or wizard or sorcerer that wrote it. Not," he kind of closes it, "not an uncommon occurrence at all. Almost every wizard I've ever heard of has written their private journals in a code such as this. It is not, it's not unknown to the Ordinum to need to translate such things when tomes come into our possession, oftentimes without the appropriate cipher to decrypt the code. If you would be willing to leave this in my care, I can remit it to the department within the lawkeepers that specializes in such things, and I can have it decoded for you."
What do you all think?
We need
I mean,
answers.
you'll give it back to us, right? You won't just keep it if there's something shady in there.
Yeah, we need to know what the text says. This isn't just us giving it to you.
He says, "This is your property. It is not my place to take it from you." He says, "If something truly nefarious or dangerous is in there, there may be conversations that we have before I can remit it back into your possession."
I can assure you, Holt, you're going to find something terrible within that text.
He says, "Just based on the diagrams, I assume so. But a lot of pictures of anime girls in there. I'm not just a real psycho wrote this one."
The analogy, oh no!
No, he says, depending on the context of it, I would like to have it transcribed potentially and added to our archives. If it is dangerous or vile in some way, it would not be put on the shelves for public consumption, but the Ordinum is...
So where do those go?
He says there are private portions of the library. He says there are private libraries within Ladris keep themselves for things that are considered potentially dangerous for a layman to have to get their hands upon, without acquiring the requisite training or knowledge. He says certain things that are of a certain caliber of danger are remitted into the safekeeping of a special facility here within the city that is designed for the securing and neutralization of potentially massively dangerous artifacts.
Wow. Okay. I just needed some clarification, and I look right to Rowan, and I wink, and I just say, "Droplet."
He goes, "What?" Droplet?
I'm sorry, it's the air here. I've been out
dry
on the
books,
sea,
yes.
and
We went from humidity to dry air. It's a whole.
it's torn my throat apart.
Um,
I understand.
Confused. Does that mean he peed himself?
Captain, speaking of Captain, I look at him and I say,
All right, yeah, you're
You
next.
have-
We have a few things to go through.
some things you might need help on too.
Yeah, you got a section for making bargains with nefarious deities accidentally.
Yes, it's right next to the river fishing section. No, that
Ah,
would
perfect.
that would fall under the category of things that are generally kept out of the hands of where someone might stumble upon them and accidentally sell their soul to a demon. Don't want that.
Well, what
Not
if
the
that's already
demon.
happened? Is
Yeah,
there
what
Yeah,
like
we're
a
looking,
button
we're
how
looking
to
for
like
the post.
undo, control, delete, like undo?
Not the demon, an elemental.
Elemental,
Primordial something.
primordial, elemental.
He says, "Well, if you
Guardian spirit.
if you can give me, I mean, I can certainly point you to potentially relevant sections. But if you would like to give me some further information, I can send several lawkeepers to try to pull anything that might be helpful for you."
Shit, they
He
can
kind
do
of
the work for you, buddy.
he looks at you. He's like, "You got to deal with a eldritch horror, buddy."
Vertebrate will just like,
He looks at the tattoos and goes, "Ooh, tough cookies. Not great. Okay. Yes." He says, "Well, you would not be the first accidentally soul-bound, cursed individual that has come across Theodinum's doorstep. Do you want to peruse yourself, or if you would allow me to take some sketches of your markings there, I can do some research for you and see what we can find for you."
I like the do it for me option.
Many people do. There's a lot of books in this building. Yes, very well. He kind of waves over another lorekeeper and he says, "Would you be so kind as to take our fine esteemed dwarven seafaring sort of gentleman here into one of the
I'll be
private
captain.
the captain. Take the captain into one of the private audience chambers and take down relevant information from him. Be sure to get detailed markings on the markings on his person. We are going to see if we can't figure out what sort of predicament he's gotten himself into." And the lorekeeper kind of nods, and they look to you as if to say, right this way. I'll take you somewhere where you don't have to take your fucking shirt off in front of an entire library full of people. If you would follow me, and they wait to see if you'll come with them.
I guess.
Okay, so they sort of go off and lead you away from the group. As Murderbeard looks at as Murderbeard heads off, the lorekeeper looks back at you guys. Was there anything else you wanted specific help with? Otherwise, feel free to peruse.
I don't
Would you-
suppose you know anything about Pendragon?
Pendragon?
Is that the name? Am I going crazy? Is that the name?
Pendragon's
That's the
name.
name.
Okay.
He is going to make a history check. He says, "It doesn't ring a bell. Do you have any context to the name? Is it a character from a fable, a mythology, something of that nature?"
We still have the letter from the someone in our group still has the letter that signed from Pendragon about the capture
I think
Emporium's.
I will.
Vertebrate
Yeah, I will hand that over, or at least show it to him. I want to keep it, but I will show it to him.
Nimue has the one from Pendragon. The one Murderbeard has is from Oberon, I believe.
Yeah.
I have the one from so I'll show him the one from Pendragon.
Okay. So he kind of looks at it and he says, so a present-day individual, then. I can't say I'm aware of anything, that subscribes to this. It could simply be it could be a real name, it could be the vibe of the letter sort of seems to indicate, nom de plume, if you would. So I can't say I'm familiar with this individual.
Is there like a section about like rumors and gossip in the library?
Yes, you can go over there. You see our rack of People magazines and the Daily Sun.
Hell yeah! Give me that juicy tea. All right. What's a shot? I don't know, guys. I don't know what else.
I look at Scylla. Anything you wanted to look for?
I'm fine on my own.
Me too. I just wanna browse.
Fair enough. The library is open to you. He says, if you need anything, just give me a shout, and I'll leave you to it. And he kind of like wanders away. And Riker said, I'll just wait here by the door. If you guys need me for anything, you know where to find me. But when you're ready to go, just come get me and we'll move on. Okay, so anything that you guys want to go like look for or whatever, like let me know. We can, I can have you make a roll to like search for stuff throughout the library as you guys are here.
Thyxus would immediately walk into the largest chamber where books are all around and just go, do you smell that?
Rowan is behind him doing the same thing. Like, you can see she's completely, like, relaxed, and she's just like, books are good. Books are usually safe. I like it here.
Scylla, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Insight check on Scylla.
That doesn't sound very true.
I don't really think I have to. But
I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
do it.
is that true? I don't think you're fine. I think you're a little upset.
That's a 6 deception check with my minus 1.
She said I'm fine, but she was like, yeah, I'm fine.
No, she like probably like if people are like walking by that are like from here, she's just like glaring at them and is just like has just been like scowling the whole time.
Do we want to find a... One moment, and Rowan's gonna run back to Riker.
Yeah.
And just ask Riker, are there private study rooms where our whole group could set up, and then the captain could be brought to us once he's done with his session, so that we could all study what we want to study together, like gather everything and have just a room for ourselves, so that we're not disturbing anybody else and they're not disturbing us, because we have to talk.
Yeah, all of these doors along the main chamber here lead to private study rooms. You can see the little light above them, the arcane lantern there. You see the ones where the lantern is illuminated with a red light, means those chambers are occupied. The ones that have a green light above them are empty, so you can pick an empty chamber and enter in. All of those chambers are equipped with a modified version of a spell called Silence, which will ward any outside sound from disturbing you while you are within. It doesn't work quite in reverse. The thought being, it is a safety concern if somebody were to have some sort of an emergency and need to call for help. But at the very least, you can go inside and have peace and quiet to study and talk as much as you need.
Great. And I will pick a room at random that's big enough for all of us, with a very big type table for all the books Thyxus and Rowan are going to grab, and just turn to look at Scylla and just say, I know you don't really like crowds, or most people in general, but I get the sense something is not especially comfortable about being here. And I agree, but I'm just worried that you're more upset than usual. And then I remember and I go flip the light of the lantern to red.
Fair enough.
So will just nod at Rowan and is gonna go off somewhere that there are like in the library, like in the stacks where there are not a lot of people around. And she's
Okay.
gonna do something there, but I will wait for everybody to do what they need to do.
Cool. Okay. Alrighty. So, Murderbeard, is there anything? Do you want to have like a specific scene of this individual taking this information from you, or are you like satisfied with just sort of like
Yeah, no, we
kind
can
of it
handle
happens?
it.
Okay.
Just
So,
going over old stuff.
all right, then let's I guess let's do this. So Sela is doing something. Murderbeard is doing something right now. So we'll say like Thixis, Nimue, Rowan, if you guys are going to like collect books and then come back to this room, kind of like let me know what you're looking for, and then we'll like reconverge. We'll say that like that's when Macbeth comes back in. We'll get you guys all in this room, see where that goes, and then we can kind of go to Sela and see what's up. So Rowan, Thixis, Nimue, and I guess Murderbeard, like on your way back, is there anything that you guys are looking for in the library specifically?
I would like to try to find any kind of geography texts that reach back to the ancient Invarians.
Okay.
Specifically to see if I can find, you know how I took sketches of like arcane ley lines and things like that?
Mhm.
If any of them have any kind of, like, if there's a book that's like geography and arcane ley lines all in one, I would love that. That would be what I would be going for. I know that's like a very specific, but
yeah, that's fine.
Or if it's just like a couple books that I'd have to like piece together myself, I'd be okay doing that.
Problem. Okay.
Also, I'd like to get a book on just like a basic tiefling poetry.
Ooh, okay.
Just for me personally.
Cool. Okay.
And if there's anything that would tell me about what was that last thing I was gonna say? Well, let's just go with those for now.
Okay.
So
all right, Rowan.
Rowan wants to look for information about the Radiant Dawn, specifically information from the outside, looking in, because she's only taught from the inside.
Sure.
As well as advanced healing and battle healing magics and tactics, things like that.
Okay.
She's also definitely, side note, going to go to the healing ward much later, not
Sure.
in the library.
Okay. Nimue, anything you're looking for?
The only thing she's interested in is Pendragon, and she doesn't think she's gonna find anything here. She might like half-ass look for that, but
Okay.
otherwise she'll help whoever needs help
Okay.
and wander around the library kind of aimlessly.
Macbeth, anything you're looking for?
Redbeard is looking for the self-care section and a quill and ink.
Okay. Okay.
And at some point during this, like, searching through the library, Matt, I don't know when these roles are going to take place, but at some point, if Thixis saw like Rowan kind of alone looking for books, he would want to do like a scene.
Okay. Let's go ahead. I guess Sela, do you want to like? Are you looking for anything? Do you want to add to this list, or do you want to just handle all your stuff when we go to your thing?
It's just like a really quick thing that she's doing. She's not looking for anything specific.
Okay. Cool.
So whenever.
All right, then let's do this. Let's have the four of you who are like looking for stuff. Go ahead and make investigation rolls for me.
That one.
Ooh, okay.
That tracks.
17.
18. Okay.
19.
Yeah.
18.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
18?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Murderbeard, you find the self-care section. Quill and ink is easy to obtain. Like, there's like quill and ink and parchment and stuff like available all over this place for like people to just take. So you get your hands on that, no problem. And you find the self-care, the self-help section. And I guess with an 18, you're pretty much able to find like whatever it is that you're looking for specifically.
So after a good deal of searching, specifically because he knows what it should look like, eventually Murderbeard pulls a book off the shelf, opens it up, and writes something inside of it, and sticks it back on the shelf. And it is Dwarven Beards: How to Make Your Beard a Mountain by M.H. Murderbeard. And he did just inscribe it.
Hang on. I'm writing this down.
Making sure I got it correct. Dwarven Beards: How to Make Your Beard a Mountain by M.H. Murderbeard, and you signed a copy in the
Yep.
library.
So you
That's
put like a
what
plate into the okay.
Oh God.
So I feel like we learned a lot just there in a very short, brief window of character
Puts it back on
insight.
the shelf and goes, "That just got way more valuable," and walks away.
Okay. You do that, no problem. Nimue, you do not find anything on Pendragon. You kind of just peruse
Nah.
shelves. You're looking at like basically just like looking at like titles and authors to see if the word Pendragon pops up on anything. And you don't
She's
nothing
been very
nothing comes
lazy
up.
about it, to be honest. Like, I think she's had like a handful of books, and any books that she had with her mom's. Like, I don't think Nimue was a studious student anyways, so this track, she's like, yeah, books.
Okay.
I might try to help the others, but I don't think she's going to be very helpful with the net one.
Okay. Oh, Rowan, with your 17. In terms of the healing and battle healing stuff, you find in the public library here, you find mostly like these sort of practical books that you find are mostly in terms of like sort of mundane like first aid and like medical texts. The books that you find that deal with like magical arcane healing are largely like they describe, you know, the effects or like certain, you know, like firsthand accounts of like seeing these things put into effect. You don't find really anything in the way of like what you would call like a technical manual necessarily that like explains the workings of this. You kind of can piece together that like that type of thing is probably not the thing that like would be in the public library, as like that is the sort of thing that requires like specific training and tutelage to be able to pursue. One thing you do take note of as you're sort of like in the like healing and healing magics section, you don't know if this is necessarily like a quirk of the Ordinum, or if this is something that is at least new to you, where all of your experience where it comes to like healing magics and the like closing of wounds, the knitting of flesh, the setting of bones, those things was, you know, taught to you to be magic that was, you know, if it had like a school, quote unquote, it was divine. It had a divine source. It came from the light of dawn, the star of dawn. It, you know, that was sort of the source. The Ordinum's like take on healing magic and magic that deals with like the manipulating of like flesh and bone and sinew and stuff like that, refers to this like branch of magic almost exclusively as necromancy. In terms of the Radiant Dawn stuff, you find a book that is titled The History and Founding of the Radiant Dawn. he says as he writes it down himself. Uh, as you peruse through it, you can see that it seems to be like a sort of a historical account of sort of the establishment of the Order of the Radiant Dawn as a direct response to the outbreak of the Blight, and the sort of like creation of the Blighted Peninsula. You flip past a chapter that is entitled. Let me just double check a name real quick. You flip past a chapter that is titled Theodorian Mithlinde. And then like the subtitle of the chapter is the mythology and the real man. But it is going to take, like, you're going to have to spend some time reading this book to get further details out of it. But this seems to be a pretty outside of the cloistered, like state-approved propaganda on the Ordinum, or on the Order of the Radiant Dawn, about the Order of the Radiant Dawn, written from an outside source. You're able to find this book with that 18.
I will take that book and one of the necromantic healing books, even though it's saying necromancy freaks her out a little, but she's taking it anyway.
Okay.
Gonna deal with it one way or the other.
All right. So, Thyxus, with your 19, you find 2 books. You find a book that is entitled Ygrian Geography, and you find a book that is titled An Incomplete Mapping of the Ley Lines of Ygria. And both of those books, as you sort of flip through them, you see that the geography of Ygria is a book that studies. It seems to be studying the I don't know if this is a concept that Thyxus is like familiar with, but like there is talk of tectonic plates, and like continental shelves and geologic shift, and the other one is basically like it sort of reads as like it's almost like a journal that has diagrams inscribed into it of somebody, like whoever this author is, and it's anonymous. It's not like labeled as having a specific author, but it is basically somebody who, from what you can see briefly flipping through it, spent their life basically traveling around Orhol, trying to map ley lines, and like diagramming over top of like geographical maps, like where ley lines run through Orhol. That's kind of what you get from both of those books. Same as Rowan, like you actually need to spend the time to read them to glean further information out of them.
Okay, clarify for me one more time. Orhol is the
continent that you all live on.
that we are
Ygria
on, right?
is like the world.
Now, those islands that we've been to, are those considered with that continent, or is that something?
Yes, sort of. That, like the Iolaquis archipelago is sort of like.
So I guess what I'd be asking is, do these notes with the ley lines, is the one that I kind of discovered in Naporia, is it in those notes, or is it absent from those notes?
Go ahead and we'll say that you're like doing this as you guys are in this like study chamber. Make another investigation check for me. To like kind of try and find that specific piece of information.
Natural 20 plus 6, 26.
Oh shit, boy.
Okay, so here's what I'll give you with a natural 20. The author of this book, I believe you, the author of this book, it does not seem made it to Naporia in their travels. But with that natural 20, you're tracing ley lines. One of the things that you piece together with that natural 20 is there is like a major ley line that runs directly through what you are pretty sure is where Terra Libra is placed in modern times. It runs like along the northern edge of Lake Malamir, which is the massive lake that Terra Libra borders. So you kind of see that runs sort of like across the, bisects the continent. There are some other ley lines that you see with the natural 20. I think what you're able to glean is you are pretty sure there is a ley line that runs like from the mainland at a latitude and longitude and at an angle that you are pretty sure, like, assuming it doesn't make any like wild turns and offshoots. And from what you can see from this person's mapping of them, the ley lines don't really do that. They tend to be fairly straight and steady. You are pretty sure that ley line, if you were to like trace out the mapping and you sort of like compare it to your geography book, would run directly through the island nation of Naporia. So like you don't like, this person who mapped the ley lines did not like map it through Naporia, but knowing what you know and looking at the geography and looking at these, you're basically able to like, you're like that meme of all the calculus is going around your head, and you're pretty sure that you find one that, like, if you were to trace it out, would probably be the one that leads through Naporia.
I just look at some innocent bystander walking by and I smile and say, "See that? It's knowledge." And I'd walk away.
You say that, and they go like, "Hell yeah," and they go to high five you.
And you walk away?
And you walk away, and they go.
I turn around and I walk away.
And they go like, "All right, cool," and they high five themselves, and then they go about their business. Your book of tiefling poetry, you do find that. It is, a lot of the poems seem to deal with a duality of nature and a feeling.
Exactly what I was hoping.
Yes, a feeling like there is something inside you that is like, some of the more like angsty of the poetry is like, there's something inside me that like no one can understand because nobody else feels like I feel. There's a lot of that in some of the more melodramatic of the poetry, but some of the more like profound of it seems to sort of explore the duality of nature and the feeling of being like of two worlds. And, sort of the like feeling that like you are of this world, of Agiria, of Orahol, of the Five Kingdoms, but not ever feeling truly like you are fully of this world, but
of two worlds belonging to none.
Yes, there you go. But yeah, I mean, I will say, I think probably a lot of tiefling poetry is pretty like eyeliner and maul katana level of some of it's pretty good. I mean, I don't know how like refined Thixis' taste for poetry is. Some of it's pretty good, a lot of it is not great.
In the end, nothing even matters.
Yeah. Yeah, the book is titled A Link in the Park, a study of belonging to two worlds. Terrible. So we've committed a crime. So that is what you find. So you guys kind of get your books, you all reconvene together. Murderbeard comes back with no books, but the biggest shit-eating grin on his face that any of you have ever seen. And while you guys are kind of doing that and settling in, let's sort of snap over to what Sela is like doing while we are here.
So basically, like, Scylla's trying to go places that there aren't a lot of people or that she's not being noticed. And she is going to druidcraft, or at least try to. I don't know if I can do that in this place, but she wants to try to druidcraft a few snapdragon flowers, but she keeps doing it, and so like it becomes like a little sprout, and then it's a flower, and then it begins to like die until it becomes the little seed pod, which looks like a screaming like face, and she
Okay.
just is like putting a couple of them on the shelves, and like does the same thing and makes like a couple wolfsbane flowers, and just like will open up a random book, pretend to read it for a little, slide it into the page, and like pick another, and is just putting some ill wishes into this place because she's like very unhappy with everything that has been happening here, about some guy saying that he was like watching all of them, and is just like she's just sending these people some ill wishes.
Okay. I guess make a stealth check to see if like anybody notices you like
Shitting in the
fucking with-
romance
fucking.
No.
The equivalent, yeah.
Russell,
you
you're
said-
muted.
Yeah, that was me. I said that in chat.
A stealth check?
Stealth check.
That's a 9.
All right, I'm gonna roll a contested stealth check or a perception check. If I beat your 9, somebody was gonna notice you like doing this. I rolled an 8. Okay, so yeah, you do this, and you do it without being like perceived. You sort of put these things in which through sort of your own, kind of your own customs are the sending of bad vibes.
Yeah, and like she probably has like a couple like very small and delicate like dried out like fish bones, like the little ribs that are like kind of curved, and she'll put like a couple of those in there. And she's just going around and doing this just like at random. It's not a particular section, it's not particular books, it's just throughout. And then after she's done that for a little while, and it seems like her friends are like gathering back at the study room, she will go and will just like sit next to Thixus and look at what he's looking at and see if he needs help.
Alexis would be super excited, and he would immediately start showing Scylla all this information that he's been gathering.
Rowan sitting across from him like this with her book, like just not ignoring everybody.
You see this, and he gets his personal notes out and sets it next to the book. It's
You
like,
know,
look,
I think your poetry is better than this one.
oh,
She turns away from it. I'm kidding. What are these lines?
Matt, while we
Yes.
were in the library, I wanted to approach Rowan.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yes. Flashback
Hey.
a second. That we will
Flashback.
see this scene before you guys reconvene.
But I just really quickly just wanted to kind of walk up to her and say, hey, Rowan, I just wanted to, I owe you an apology.
An apology? What would you ever owe me an apology for?
Well, about the whole Anna Cromwell situation. I think I made everything worse.
No, it's fine. I took that a little too far, and you were backing me up because you're good friends. But that was on me more than you. It's okay.
Are you sure?
Rowan flashes back to what Anna said about Thixus being an enigma. She goes kind of distant stare for a minute, and then she just goes, I'm sure it's fine. She and I hashed things out.
Yeah, I saw that there was a conversation going on. I didn't want to interrupt. I saw your face, and you looked a little bit uncomfortable, and I feel bad for putting you in that situation.
It was going to happen at one point or the other. I appreciate you checking in on me about that, but you did nothing wrong. That was all on me from the start. I was being kind of an asshole to her just based on coming from the same place that I was from. So
do I continue to be sassy towards her, or what am I supposed to do? I'm
we'll just
really confused.
treat her how you would normally treat anybody that you have no issues with. She's keeps the boat running and is pretty good at her job, so I think we should just let her be. And if you guys become friends or anything, then we let that happen. But yeah, I think we just let her be.
Emphasis on the anything.
Rowan is not telling him about that.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure you knew that I was sorry about that. And
It's okay, Thixus. I appreciate it. You're
Hey, look at this. And I show her the books.
Mhm.
Look, I think I found some new knowledge that they don't have here.
And I immediately go into full geek mode and I start gathering other books from the same area. Like I help Thixus carry all of the books that he wants to the room. And I'm just like load up my arm, like let's go. And we go full.
I was catching up on like chat to see if there's anything I needed to catch up on. So you guys are gathering books. Is this from the Tiefling poetry section?
I think this is
Oh yeah, we would just keep on like piling tiefling poetry
as
up.
we walk back. I imagine every time we like pass a new shelf, Thixus goes ooh and just grabs her in a book and throws it on top. So it's like books from all over.
Okay, so no, so you're looking at your geography and arcane ley lines.
I want there to be a couple extra tiefling poetry books just for giggles.
Yes, you definitely.
What's this? This is like this one's called a desktop confessional. That should be good.
Okay. So you guys are all kind of like collectively back in this. Is there anything else like specifically you guys want to do in the library? Otherwise, we can kind of like say, you sort of spend your time here perusing things. What I will tell you is that as you guys are kind of in there, at one point a lore keeper comes over. I'm gonna proceed with this, but I want you to understand that I did not realize what I was doing until just this second. A lore keeper comes over, and they knock on the door. They open the chamber. They say, "Oh, you seem to have found a great deal of information here. As guests to the library, oh God, this is the worst. This is the head lore keeper has asked that you be given these, and they hand you each a paperback book. And they distribute one to each of you, and if you take it and if you open it, you'll see that all of the pages within it are blank. And they say, this is an enchanted book. It will allow you to copy the texts of books here within the library, and then you can take them with you. When you are finished with them, they will be erased from the tome, and you can come back and put more books on them. No, none of us realized that we invented a fucking Kindle until I just explained it to you right now. Did not dawn on anyone that this method to let you take information and books from the library was a goddamn e-reader. In fact, that's what it's called. It's an e-reader. It's an e-reader. The E stands for enchantment. It is an enchantment reader. It allows you to store knowledge. So if there are books that you would like to take, you can fit several dozen on the reader at once and take them with you.
I don't like it. They don't have a nice heft, and they don't have that smell.
They do. They're made of paper. They're magic books. They quite literally definitely have that. That's true. I suppose the magic ink doesn't smell quite the same as real ink. So you guys each get one of these e-readers. So if there's like these books that you guys have looked at and things that you're interested in, like, you are not forced to like stay here and try and like discern the entirety of the information to get out of these books. You can like take them with you in the sense that you can like load them onto these enchanted tomes and read them at your leisure. Just as a way to like allow you guys to take information from this place without like being trapped here. Thixus, I assume, immediately fills his with
when his fills up, I'll
poetry.
Put my books on, and then I'll take her leftover of his books and put that on mine too.
So Thixus, you got a lot of books there.
Zilla will offer up hers. She's not using it.
Okay.
She doesn't want it. She won't even touch it.
I'd pat the pile of books in front of Murderbeard and just it's been a long time, Captain.
Did you get anything good?
Oh yes, this is great. I mean, check this out. And I hand him one of the tiefling poetry books. There's some really deep stuff here. Ready to read it?
Oops, I'm horny. How I accidentally turned myself into a tiefling.
How did that get in there?
What is this?
Whoops.
That doesn't seem right. That must have been in the wrong section.
Sure it was, thanks.
All
Rowan
right.
gets further uncomfortable remembering about Anna's interest in Thixus.
We're all just like, Thixus, why do you have Schlongus the Horlock in this file?
What section were we by, Rowan? This can't be right.
We grabbed as we walked. Maybe we walked and I don't. You know what?
Oh, I was so excited about this book about ley
Yeah,
lines. I must not have been paying any
there is
attention.
a big sign over there that just says "fuck" section.
No. What it is you look, you look and you go back, back and you look at and you see like this sort of like hanging signs that like demarcate the sections, and you see the one that says like tiefling poetry, and then like the very next shelf over you look and it just says smut, and you're like, oh, I went one shelf too far over.
That's what it was. Oh. They don't have them really labeled that well. You know, you can't see where the end of one section is and the beginning of the other. You know, it's
I just
so
pat
complicated.
Thixus on the shoulder to calm him down.
Thank you. So anyway, I did find some new knowledge on these ley lines, I think. I mean, check out my notes from Naporia. And I just like kind of like lay them all out with the geography text and stuff like that I've got.
Wow. That's really cool, Thixus. Are you going to
It's-
tell somebody?
Well, see, that's what I was kind of thinking. What's the
Get a reward.
benefit? What's the benefit if you find knowledge that can be presented here and incorporated within the library? I mean,
Maybe that's how you join.
maybe.
You guys probably like the bookkeepers are a well enough known organization throughout the land that like that's fairly common knowledge. Like that is in fact how you join. It's like
Oh,
you
shit.
have to bring something to the organization that is considered like a worthy enough addition to the like organization's collection of knowledge to warrant your like admittance into the bookkeepers.
I mean, I think this might be enough, because look, it does prove one thing. If you continue to follow these lines from this original text, it all seems to be relatively consistent. So perhaps the same thing that happened in Naporia could be the
Can-
same thing that happened in these other directions, where these
Wait.
lines end.
Wait, Thixus, can you... I don't know how you calculated this, but could you track it back to where Willow lives?
I mean, I could try.
Try.
Oh, well, okay.
That's probably a thing that will require like later study.
Okay,
You got it.
okay.
Just to prevent spending the rest of the night making like investigation
Drawing
checks
lines on a
books.
paper.
Yeah.
Are you proposing that the ley line under Naporia is the reason for the Earth Spirit?
I don't think it's the reason.
But it could be a...
Could be something they're using to eat. I don't know.
Is that the information you're going to give to the bookkeepers?
Well, not so much just specifically Naporia, but I really do think this could help provide them a little bit more assistance on reaching further than just this continent.
Like,
It
what
seems-
other places are there?
I don't know. I've never been to them.
Does it look like, at a glance, like a lot of ley lines?
There are a handful of like what you would call major ley lines,
Hmm.
things that are like rivers of arcane energy that traverse
Oh,
through the
shit.
like through the planet. And then there are like ever more intricately branching, like almost like
Mm.
capillaries off of like a vascular system off of
Okay.
those. So like in totality, like an incalculable amount of ley lines, like the entire
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
you know, if you were to get
So are you saying, like, if we were looking kind of like less like a grid, more like an image of like the human body and how the human
Like a
body works,
brain,
like a
like
Yeah, I
veins,
don't
like a
know,
net-
like,
veins?
yeah, the veins and arteries. And,
yes, I mean, like, I don't know if your like, as we are in like a medieval fantasy setting, like, I don't know if your characters have that frame
Right.
of reference, like,
Yeah.
But the
in
players
character,
do.
but like you as the players, yes, like that.
Okay,
that is
that's
the
what it looks
analogy
like.
that I would draw is like
Okay.
more like a vascular system than
Okay.
than a grid.
Got it. That helps. Yeah, that's a lot.
Alrighty. So after you guys spend, the time that you spend, is there anything else you guys are like discussing while you're in here? Anything else you want to do before I like move us along?
Before I leave the library, I would like to go to a kids section and get some action adventure romance, like thieves, pirates, whatever kids stories that I
Sure.
can read to the twins later. Because I don't
Absolutely.
I can't buy Pendragon, so I gotta fill it with something else.
You can load some of those onto your e-reader.
I want to get some kids books.
Oh shit! I have to go back. Oh god, it was like 2.5 years ago. There is definitely a firmly established genre of like children's book that we made up in this campaign, and I don't remember what we called it.
Well, I get whatever is really, really popular.
Give me a second. Shit.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Audacity of this bitch.
I hand Nimue a book. While you're collecting children's books, I say, this one's really good. It's called Descendants of Sorrow.
Oh god! I think I need to pre-read this before I tell it to them.
Very, very good poetry for children.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah.
Did you read this as a child, Texas?
Oh yes, several times.
I'm gonna tuck it into like my pocket for me to read first. I'm gonna read that later. Wait, what's it called?
That the kids' books
Descendants
were
of
in the city where
Sorrow.
Walter invented pumpkin spice lattes.
Yes, they were in the city where Walter invented pumpkin spice lattes. I'm looking through the details from that book, from that chapter. I'm seeing if I can see a reference to them.
Here's a good one. Where the dock ends, just don't show the picture of the author to the children. It's a horrible monster.
Yeah, I can't find them. I don't want to spend the rest of the night trying to search for a 2-year-old. It was definitely like a Golden Books ripoff. You're able to get some of those.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Anything else in the library or in that private chamber, like between yourselves before we move on? Okay. So you guys...
Edward is gonna, without him noticing at some point, slip into Sykes' stack of books the, like, Dewey Decimal card number for the book that he, whatever. Just
the one that
slip
Murderbeard wrote?
Yeah, and
Okay.
not say anything.
He puts the ISBN number for the for the book.
Oh my god.
Okay, you guys head back to the front entrance of the library, and Riker is waiting there for you. And as you guys approach, he says, "Oh, welcome back. I hope you guys found some interesting stuff that you were looking for. Now that you know it's here, you can come back anytime to look at more stuff in the library. You don't need me to escort you around."
Really?
Speaking of, yeah. Because I'm only here to take you places that you might want to go that you don't know how to get to. You're free to go wherever you want in the city.
How late is the library open, Riker?
Oh, the library's open 24 hours a day.
I grab Texas's arm and I just go.
I would think we would kind of embrace and start jumping.
And Rowan's arm is just clanking as she jumps.
Okay, so, do you guys have somewhere specific that you might want to go? Otherwise, I can tell you a little more about the city and see if anything piques your interest.
I want to go to the healing building at some point. Everyone doesn't have to come with me, so we could do that later. I know it's open to the public anyway. But I don't have anywhere else I want to go beyond that.
Generally, the best time to visit the ward is usually like first thing in the morning. They're not as busy then. So if you are looking to go and talk to people or try and look around or take a tour, that's probably your best bet.
So first thing tomorrow then.
You know, this is well, you've seen where it is now. So if if you're able to find your way back, you obviously don't need to don't need me to escort you tomorrow. But for today, I'm still at your disposal as much as you need. Any type of thing you guys are interested in seeing in the city, or like I said, I can tell you a little bit about the place and see if anything piques your interest.
We should probably find a place to stay.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
That won't be much of an issue. You could find a place to stay here in the Ordinum Rise, though that might be a little more expensive. If you're looking for something more on the affordable end, probably somewhere in either Midtown or the Commons is where to look. It just depends on how much of a walk you want back to any given place. But there's plenty of inns and taverns in the city. That won't be a problem.
Do any of you have a preference on where we stay in the city?
I guess I don't want to be too far from the Rise for when we have to go to the meetings and stuff, but I don't want to blow all of our money on...
How expensive is expensive?
I'm not 100% sure, because I don't have to stay in taverns, because I live here, but I think he says there's really only one tavern here in the Rise, and that one, I think, it's kind of... Well, people say it's as much of an experience as it is a tavern and an inn. So that one's a little more expensive. I think that one costs something like 5 gold a night per room.
How big are the rooms, though?
Yo, Victoria is so curious.
I'm also very curious. Like, wait, how big are these rooms, though?
How about just one night and we give it a try for the experience, right?
I think we should, honestly. Like that.
Clarification on what kind of experience we're paying for.
An experience.
I mean, that's all you need to know, right?
Well, I guess...
What if the experience is like getting your kidney stolen? Thanks. Just ask a few questions at least.
Well, the experience... I guess I should ask how you guys individually or collectively feel about deep fried food, bacon, and cheese.
Oh, fuck.
Pretty heavily involved in the experience.
Are there
I love
any
cheese.
healthy options there? And I'm
Not really.
I'll look at the rest of the group and so it takes a deep sigh and just says, "My people have endured displacement for millennia from their homes. I can survive for one night in a deep fried tavern."
One night.
Is the whole tavern deep fried?
It might be.
No, the whole tavern's not deep fried, but the wizard who is the proprietor of the establishment is a retired traveler and adventurer, and he's
Just imagining a shitty Willy Wonka type being like, you can eat everything. It's all deep fried, even the doors.
No, the tavern's not edible. But that's fine. We can I can certainly make sure that I'll send word ahead to have some rooms set aside for you guys for tonight. And when you're ready to retire for the day, we can head back there.
What is the name of this experience?
Oh, it's called Diamonds, Dungeons, and Delves.
Oh.
Oh my god, it's fucking Guy
God.
Fieri.
Never mind. Never mind. I don't want to go.
Yes, it's run by a wizard ex adventurer. He does call himself Archmage Fieri.
Wait. Archmage who?
Archmage Fieri. He's not an actual archmage. It's sort of a persona that he's put on. He's a nice guy. He's a little eccentric.
Oh, he knows nothing of the arcane?
No, he's definitely a wizard.
Oh.
That's the experience of the restaurant. All of the food and drink and things are enchanted in one way or another.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
I think it's worth a shot.
Sure. And on the way there, I'm gonna buy any fruit or vegetables I can see for Scylla. And also for myself, because Ron's a little bit concerned at this point.
Don't worry, Scylla has bugs. She's got bugs. Don't
I
worry.
was still gonna buy them. She feels.
He says, well, I'll make sure the rooms are reserved for you, but unless you guys are ready to retire for the day, we can explore the city a little more if you'd like. It's, he looks at the sky. It's about noon.
Are there any specialty shops that are special
All sorts of things.
to the Ordinum, to Terra Libra?
He says, let me give you the brief rundown, and then you can decide if anything piques your interest. He says, the portion of the city we're in right now, as you know, is called the Ordinum Rise. It's where the Ordinum's main campus is located. Across a small land bridge, just that way to the east, is sort of the larger portion, the larger outcropping into the lake that the main portion of the city sits on. That's called Midtown. That is where sort of the majority of the city's interests and shopping and inns and taverns and things are located. There are some things there if you're looking for interesting shopping. I definitely recommend a shop that is run by a really good friend of mine, kind of like a mom in a sense. That's in Midtown. Also in Midtown is the High Garden Market. That is has a lot of interesting shops and stalls and things like that you can check out. High Garden North, in that central area, contains the Terra Libra Zoological and Biological and Botanical Sanctuary. That's always an interesting stop if you're so inclined.
You got any dwarven markets?
He says, yeah, there's plenty of dwarven stuff to be found here. Some of it is, well, I mean, the dwarves are pretty reclusive, so we don't have as big a dwarven population, or as much of an influence on the architecture of Terra Libra. But yes, there's absolutely dwarven markets and dwarven shops and dwarven cuisine to be had here. You can find a lot of that stuff in the High Garden markets. Like I said, High Garden North has the Zoological and Botanical Sanctuary. High Garden South is there's a lot of parks if you're looking to spend some time to relax. To the sort of off the way, the Ziggurat is out that way, but you don't want to go there, and you wouldn't be allowed in anyway.
Why wouldn't we be allowed in, Riker?
The Ziggurat is the facility where the dangerous or unstable magical artifacts that the Ordinum comes into contact with are kept. It's sort of a highly secure facility that is intended to keep things that would cause a tremendous amount of destruction or mayhem or death from ever seeing the light of day.
Kind of like what's on the Blighted Peninsula that I used to keep control of.
Yeah, sort of. Well, the Blighted Peninsula, at least as I understand, it's a little bit of a different thing, but yes, that type of stuff, things things that have no business being out in the world, save for hurting and killing people. The Ordinum does its best to lock them away until they can figure out a way to neutralize or destroy them. That's the main interests in the in Midtown. There are plenty of other things to see throughout the city. In the Commons, in the southernmost portion of the city, that's mostly residential. Under normal circumstances, I would say that the Grimaldi Circus is a pretty big draw for people, but unfortunately it's closed right now. Usually they're open for they stay open for 9 months out of the year, and then close down to reestablish create a new show for the next year. And they should have opened a few weeks ago, but they're still shut down. So unfortunately, there's no show to see. But maybe you'll get lucky and they'll open back up while you guys are still here.
Do you know why it's still closed?
Not really. I haven't heard much. There's rumors that anything from creative differences between the ringmaster and his sort of head performers to more nefarious things, but nothing that seems like it has any credence. They're just closed down for now.
Raker, there are a lot of, well, let's just say the practitioners of the arcane here within this city. Are there any shops or stores that sell enchanted products?
Uh-huh.
Really?
That shop I was telling you about, where the very special person to me, she runs it. If that's something you guys are interested in, that is definitely a place I can take you.
I nod.
Well, then what are we waiting for?
I don't know. Let's go. And Riker sets off, heading east through the city. So it takes you guys about 15-20 minutes to kind of walk eastward. You go across if you're kind of looking at the map on the screen, you go across that little sort of land bridge that connects the two little juttings of land here between where the Ordinum rises on the far left and the sort of central portion of the city there. And he brings you through kind of the bustling streets. And you're kind of able to get a better look at Terra Libra in general as you guys sort of make your way out of the Ordinum Rise to the main part of the city. And what you see is that Terra Libra is a pretty marvelous city that has been built along the bank of the Malamir Lake Malamir here. The architecture you guys notice is it's like a melting pot of all of these different cultural and racial and stylistic influences. All of the buildings are very different and exotic and expressive. You kind of get the sense that the city is a testament to the collected sort of knowledge and appreciation of both the past and the present across Orahole that the Ordinum has. There are these flameless lanterns which are pockmarked across the street. They're off right now as it's midday. But you can see that they basically look these glass orbs with these intertwined filaments within them. There are occasionally you see these small groups of individuals wearing the colors of the Ordinum Libri going across the street, and you guys see them. They're casting magic. And for player context, what they're doing is they're roving around the streets, prestidigitating. And they're basically cleaning the city. They clean the streets, they clean the gutters, they clean the sides of buildings. So the city is very clean and very put together. you really don't see any anything like run down or ramshackle. You don't see much in the way of like citizens or people who look like they're like not very well off. Like everybody seems to be fairly well prospering that you pass. And the city definitely like looks as if it is maintained, and it is like the Ordinum seems to put a great deal of like funds and energy into like building up the infrastructure and like promoting social programs. You see like there's a lot of like well-maintained parks and civic spaces. You guys pass you guys like walk across like a veranda that overlooks like an artificial lake, like pool, that overlooks like a wide grassy lawn where there's like an amphitheater where like performances will be done. And across from that you see this large exotic looking building that like kind of like the Sydney Opera House. It's very like curved, like these sort of like curved half dome shapes. Which Riker points that out to you guys as the zoological and botanical like conservation preserve. And he brings you down across what he kind of points out to you is the High Garden Market. You see like a lot of winding streets with shops and stalls and open plazas with different vendors and things like that. You see that there is like there's like a blacksmith, and there's an armor smith and a weaponsmith and general vendors. There's a bookshop. There's all sorts of like food carts and things like that. But what he brings you to is a small building. It's like a row of buildings, and it is this like small shop front, like that very narrow, like crammed between two larger, newer buildings. And it is kind of out of the way, kind of like hole in the wall, doesn't look like much. It has a very small kind of faded sign out front, and it says, the sign says, in like big bolded like first initial letters where like the word descends from each letter, it says Spectacular Enchantments at Rattlesnap's Sanctum.
Rattlesnap's Sanctum.
Yes, Spectacular SE Enchantments A at R Rattlesnap's S Sanctum.
I just had I instantly had a stroke from that.
So you guys walk into Riker opens the door and gestures.
Oh my god,
inside.
is it Sears?
Yeah. It
Sears.
says Sears on the door.
Yep.
You guys walk into the shop as Riker opens the door. And the first thing that you notice is that this the building inside is bigger than the building on the outside was. It's like double the width of the building that you saw on the inside. It is a cramped sort of, for its size, it's like jam-packed with things. There are shelves, there are like gizmos and things and just like stuff on all of these shelves. A lot of stuff is like moving and whirring and like moving around. It has a very sort of like, it's got like an almost like Arcano steampunk vibe to it. You guys come in, there's like there's like books on some of the shelves, things like that. And as you guys come in, Riker kind of calls out from behind you and he says, "Mom, I brought some customers." And you hear from the back, you hear like a big like explosion, and a big like waft of smoke comes out from the back. And then from behind a counter, a diminutive rock gnome woman. She's about 3 foot tall. She has sort of like hair kind of pulled into a messy, wispy bun. Her hair is gray with like the last like little streaks of like honey-colored hair. She has these like gigundo glasses on that are like an inch thick and bug out her eyes really huge, which is amplified by the fact that there's like several layers of like magnifying lenses currently flipped down. She comes out with like soot on her face, and she like looks at the group of you with these huge eyes and like flicks the lenses out of the way. And she says, "Oh, customers, welcome to Rattlesnaps. What are you in the market for?" And I certainly hope my precious Riker did not twist your arms too much to get you to come here.
Oh, no, absolutely not. We're thrilled to be here. What was your name?
Oh, how rude of me. Nuri Rattlesnap at your service. This is my shop.
Neri.
Nuri, N-U-R-I, Nuri.
Oh,
Rattlesnap.
Nuri.
I don't want to spell that one. It's too long.
Well, Neri, really, I was just going to kind of peruse if you don't mind me perusing for a while.
Absolutely, please do. That's the whole point of a shop.
And Nuri, did you get hurt in that little bang that just happened? Are you okay?
Nope, totally intentional. Meant to do it. Part of the process.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I had to heal her at all. I was like, she seems fine.
She looks mostly fine.
Just okay.
She's a little sooty, but she looks okay.
I know this all too well.
The look that I'm giving her right now, where I'm assessing if she's okay.
No,
she does not look injured. She does not look injured. She looks okay. She says, please look around. I'll be up here at the front. If you have any questions about any of my merchandise, don't hesitate to ask. And then she goes behind the desk, and then she like climbs up on like a big like booster seat that she has at like behind the desk and just sits at it. So you guys can peruse around if you would like. I can give you some information about sort of like what can be found here. Okay. So you guys look around. There's like a lot of, it's sort of like oddities. There's not like, it doesn't look like this is a shop where like you're not gonna find like enchanted weapons and armor here, right? Like that's not her jam. It's a lot of housewares, honestly. Up near the front of the building, like near where Nuri is sitting, there are some of those like impulse buy bins. You know what I'm talking about? Where there's like little doodads that like you might be like, I'll take one of these. There is a bin that is labeled Neat Rocks. And it is a bin that just has like a bunch of rocks in them. There is a sign beneath Neat Rocks that says, 1 per customer. They are extremely jealous. They are priced at 2 gold apiece. There is another one of those impulse bins that is labeled Loose Buttons. There is another bin that is labeled Loose Coins of Unknown Denomination. And you do indeed see there's just like a bunch of coins of like with like different random like things stamped into them and stuff like that of different sizes and colors and metals. And you see a barrel that has a sign on it that says Barrel of Acorns. The Barrel of Acorns, that has a price tag that says 5 gold on it. The loose coins of unknown denomination is basically a 1-for-1. It is 1 gold piece per coin. The loose buttons are a silver piece. As you guys like peruse around the shop, there's like an assortment of trinkets and odds and ends. You see there is a shelf that has a label that says Golden Sparrow Whistle that has a price tag of 25 gold. The spot on the shelf there is empty. Is that like that item is not there as it has been purchased. You see an iron cup that has like sigildry etched into it. That is priced at 30 gold pieces. You see a chessboard that is currently playing chess against itself autonomously. That is priced at 50 gold pieces. You see a bin that just says useful cloaks. And there's like a bunch of sort of like cloaks with all of these like quilt patchwork patches stitched into them. Those are priced at 100 gold pieces apiece. You see a shelf that has a this like rounded glass bottle on it with a stopper in it, and there seems to be like swirling smoke in it. That is labeled as being 800 gold pieces. There is like a clothing section where there is like all sorts of just like assorted garments. They are labeled glamour weave. So there is like whatever type of clothing you might want here, that are made of something called glamour weave. The prices for them vary based on like what it is. And then in like the home goods section, there is something. There's like its own little display area. Something called the Broomba. It is it looks like a common house broom, but the display model you see is currently like autonomously sweeping a little patch of floor. The Broomba is priced at 50 gold pieces for like the full broom, and then there is a 25 gold piece like dustpan sized one that is currently like auto dust panning. You see a like what looks like a common like clothes iron that is labeled as a self-heating iron. You hear something. You see an item that is labeled as the slap chop TM. You see something labeled the auto clothes line. You see sets of self-cleaning pots and pans. And you see something, another like bin with a bunch of like individual pouches in it, that is labeled Prestidigidust. And those are marked as 10 gold pieces apiece. There are sets of the similar flameless lamps to the ones that you saw out on the streets. And then there is a little section with a little thing that is labeled animated pets. And there are these little tiny like toy like figurines of various types that you see like the display samples of them. Some of them are like moving around on their own and like acting out, like there's one that's like a tiger and it's currently like prowling around and doing stuff. There's one that's like a little soldier and he's got like a little saber that he's like pulling out and putting back in, stuff like that. So that's kind of like some of the things that you see in the shop as you look.
Seeing the bucket of all the coins, I will go up to Scylla and pull out 60 regals. And I will hand them back to Scylla and say, Your friend didn't charge us anything for the supplies. This is yours.
I wouldn't. I don't need it. If I need it, I will ask you for some.
It's okay. I don't feel right holding it anymore. Here, take it. There's so much in here. You could use it on.
Thyxus, I need... Thyxus.
Look at these jealous rocks.
Thyxus, this amount of gold that I have given you, and that you are giving back to me, did your family have this kind of money?
We were fine. I mean, we weren't poor by any means.
Okay, I need you to know that this amount of gold is 10 times more money than I have ever spent in my whole life, and I've been around for a lot longer than you. I don't need it. You will find more use for it, and if I do need it, I will ask. Just take it. Consider it communal money if you don't want it for yourself.
Yeah, and fair reminder, like the Ignean Regals you have, that this Rattlesnaps trades in Mithlindian gold pieces. So every Ignean Regal that you have is worth 5 gold pieces.
Oh wow!
So that's 300 gold.
We've got a lot more.
You have quite a bit of gold on you.
Because I have a total of 95 on me right now.
Yeah. So that's you have almost 500, if that's all Ignean, plus the, what is almost 300
I
from...
think all I've ever received was Ignean.
I think we were stealing a lot of shit, or, just, looting stuff. Can I... Okay, Scylla just is going to use her Furbolg magic to cast Detect... I have Furbolg magic, and I'm going to cast Detect Magic, so her eyes go, feline. and slitted. And I know everything, like all the weird moving shit is probably magic, but she's looking directly at the cool rocks and wants to see if they're magical.
Ooh, okay, very, very cool. All right, make a. Ooh, okay, I love this. That's very good. Make a perception check.
I don't trust my dice. Natural 20.
All right.
27.
Here's what I will tell you.
I
Shit.
got a natural 20 to perceive cool rocks.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you with perceiving those cool rocks. Most of those cool rocks are rocks. But maybe like 1 in 100 of those rocks is like screaming transmutation magic.
What's that?
So if there's like 1,000 rocks in this bin, 10 of them are like Christmas tree lights of transmutation magic. And because you're nat 20, you know exactly which ones are magical.
Okay, because it said only take one, I'm gonna take out 5 and hand one to each of my friends.
Okay.
I picked one, yeah, sure.
And I'm just like, I picked this one out for you, and I hand it to Nimue, and this one's for you, and I hand it to Rowan, and I give the guys each one of the rocks that's glowing.
You do this, and you like look back up.
I don't know what I've just done.
And Nuri Rattlesnap is behind the counter, like.
I bare my teeth at her.
She goes, okay, interesting. Riker, who have you brought me? I don't know. There's some people that came here. I got them from an island, and then Tori and Adrian said some stuff to them, and now I'm taking them around the city. And as he says, Tori and Adrian talk to them. No, like, insight checks required or whatever. Nuri Rattlesnap goes like, ugh.
That's just how I felt too.
She like looks at you and she says, "You are perceiving the magic in the chamber right now. I can tell." She says, "That's how you picked out the enchanted rocks, isn't it? It's also your eyes did a cat eye thing a minute ago."
They did.
I am just doing what comes naturally to my people.
She nods. She says, "I don't have a ton of experience with furbolgs, but fair enough. But I know a detect magic spell when I see one." She says, interesting. And you got a bad taste in your mouth from Tori and Adrian, which I appreciate immensely, as he is a douchebag."
Yeah, I'm one to have some words with him when he gets back.
Wonder if he's perceived that I'm going to end his life one day.
Oh, shit.
She sort of like, she shrugs. She's like, "Even if he had, I don't know that it would wipe the smug expression off of his face. Sorry. If you don't mind."
Did he do something specific to you to make you feel this way?
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
Russell just blue screened.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh, no.
18.
Ooh. She looks at you and she says, "I'll answer that. But if you don't mind, I'd like to know a little more about who you are before I start dishing the dirty laundry. Who are you people? What brings you to Terra Libra? If it was Tori and Adrian, I assume it's some convoluted nonsense, but all the same, what's your deal?"
Oh, there's multiple. Oh, there he goes.
Hi.
We'll wrap up.
There's multiple reasons why we're here. All of them seem to overlap. I guess the main thing is the threat from the Empire.
I did hear something about that there. they stormed over the border between Mithlande and their own territories. Ripped right through the
They'll-
town of Vale, from what I heard.
They are also attacking Glasgow and Naporia and probably who knows where else they're going.
Wait, they came over the border into Mithlande?
Yes. An entire army marched right off. They've launched a full-scale invasion on Mithlande. Did you?
How much?
You wouldn't know, would you, if you're new here?
We literally just got here from an island out in the
We
ocean.
just spotted an armada.
Riker
You think
just
there's
grabbed
more?
us from an island in the middle of the ocean.
Says, how do you think I feel? I didn't know about the Armada.
They have an armada and an army on land.
That's too much shit. That's too many Ignians. There should be less Ignians than that. Anyway, yeah, they launched a full-scale overland assault on Mithlande. The pylons have been raised.
What does that mean?
Oh, short version is they're big old defensive things that get raised up, and they can make a big shield around the city in case invaders come. The city doesn't have walls proper, but that's there as a defense mechanism in case any thing. They haven't activated them, but they've brought them up from the subterranean chambers where they reside in preparation for. From what I hear, the front is not going well for Mithlande. They make it far enough west, and they'll be on our doorstep before we know it. Nobody wants that.
How long do you think they have?
Depends how much of a fight Mithlande puts up.
They're in the
They've got-
capital? They're in the city?
They're in Niveria. What? Where'd you hear that?
Well, where else would they attack?
Well, from what I heard was that they came over the border. The border between the Empire and Mithlande. There's a pretty major town there called Vale that they launched their invasion through. That's 200, 300 miles from Niveria? If they've already made it to Niveria, that's not great news for anybody.
Just guessing about Niveria. I completely forgot about Vale. I'm not from that part of Mithlande.
She sort of she waves her hands and says we got sidetracked here. So you're from the archipelago out those ways, and you're coming here because an armada has launched and moved that way, and you're bringing information about that to the Ordinum. Does that all sort of track?
Yeah. Getting allies so the Empire doesn't fuck everyone up at the same time.
She kind of nods. She says, okay, boy, that is not great news. Okay, I will process that later. Riker, did you know of any of this? And Riker kind of shrugs and he goes, well, I heard some stuff. The council meeting's gonna get called in a few days. And Mr. Adrian seemed pretty in the know that some stuff was going on. But he usually is. And you see Nuri kind of grits her teeth again. She says, okay, you shared with me, so I'll share with you. Tori and Adrian is the reason that I run this shop instead of continuing to practice my arts within Ladria's Keep. He's a practitioner of divine magic, divination magic. And let's just say the short version is, he's very fond of intimating that despite seeing things and knowing things and all of this, that, and the other thing, he has his hands tied by the confines of his particular brand of magic. He doesn't interfere in things when he should. He does interfere in things when he shouldn't. I don't like divination magic. He's watching people. He manipulates things. That's the problem.
He's entitled. He's entitled to think that he can watch all of us.
I
And
suppose
dictate
that's...
what allows to happen and what doesn't. Like, how much bad things happen could he have prevented?
She says, you're getting into the meat of my problem. That's the question, isn't it? He sees things.
And he lets them happen.
He lets them happen, or he acts. He's
playing gods.
He chooses for his own comfort.
She shakes her
Whatever.
head. She says, that's not the way that he would put it. And for anything else about the man, I will at least say that I've never gotten the impression that he attempts to pull on the strings of fate for his own benefit.
Yeah. That tracks.
She says, it just rankles me. All of this knowing and ever an excuse that if he interferes too much, or if he does this, or if we do that, or if ever the excuse that events must happen a certain way, or this, that, or the other thing.
Well, he didn't pass the vibe check. That's what I'm gathering here.
Who is he to say how things are supposed to go?
She sort of grimaces and she's like, were you to ask him, he would say that he's no one to say how things should go. He simply gazes into the weave of fate and reports what he sees.
He can gaze into my fist crashing into his face.
She kind of grins. She's just like, all right, I officially like you people. She kind of like looks around and she says, the rocks are on the house. Is there anything else
Very
that...
charming when you get to know us.
I would like to purchase this, and Thixus brings that was it like an iron mug or something you said, or with the...
It is a mug. Yes, it is a mug embossed with sigildry.
Yeah, I would bring that up to the counter and said, I would like to purchase this, please.
Oh, very good.
Oh, is it magical? Is it
Yes,
glowing?
it is. It is. It is
20 gold. Is that what you said?
Let me get my price list back up here.
I had it written down as 30.
What are you
30.
getting?
There's like
Iron
a mug
cup?
with like sigil on
mug?
it.
15. The mug is 15 gold.
15?
But is
Yep.
that? But then you have to divide that by 5. Does he only have to give 3 gold because he has
Yes,
Ignean
if he's
gold?
giving Ignean Regals, you only need to
Yeah.
give her 3 gold pieces.
3. Okay, I'll give her the 3. and
You
I-
hand her those Ignean gold pieces, and she's immediately like... You immediately get the sense that she's like, maybe you guys don't pass the vibe check. Where did you... She's like,
We stole it.
We're
It's fine.
pirates,
We're
kind of.
pirates.
We
We,
took it
we
from them.
stole them.
no. Pirates. Rad. All right. And
killed
she takes the
Rad.
gold.
We killed their slavers and took their money.
Wait,
Uh,
what type of useful cloaks are in here?
She says, first she turns to Thixus and she says that cup has an enchantment on it that will convert the heat from your hand to power the spell woven into the cup. Any beverage that you put within it, you simply hold it within your hand, and the cup will use the heat from your hand. And she like shows you a little switch. She says you can put it this way or this way. It will use the heat from your hand to power the magic, and it will either heat or cool any beverage that you put in the mug.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
The cloaks she says, "Oh, they're just sort of this and that. I don't really know what's sort of going on with any of them. They're kind of a grab bag."
Oh god, alright. I'll look through them.
Make an Arcana check.
Okay.
I'm looking too, because
Not bad.
useful cloak is
A 19
in-
total.
I'm
Okay.
standing behind them looking at their choices.
You look at the cloak. These cloaks. You can these like patches that are sewn onto them. Between Sela's detect magic and your sort of Arcana check, the patches are enchanted on these, and they have conjuration magic worked into them. You get the sense that like there is a binding woven into the stitching that holds the patch onto the cloak. That if you were to like tear the patch away, it would release the conjuration and like summon forth whatever is like woven into that patch. So in mechanical sense, these are cloaks of useful items,
Nice.
or robes of useful items is the technical like item description.
Should I get one, fam?
I mean, sure, if you can afford
All
it.
right, I'll get one of those, and then I will also get two of the animated pets
Okay. You are easily able
for
to
the
do
kids. Yeah.
Yo, I gotta look at the acorns too. While I still have this, I'm looking in that bin of acorns.
that. Okay. So you look at the
Let-
acorns, you see that those are imbued with a magic that you would it's not quite druidic magic, but it is a it is a transmutative magic that like you essentially get the sense that like if planted, this thing will like dump its load of magic into the seed and like
You said dump its load.
yeah, I said what I said.
Not the assorted weave stuff, just to...
So Glamourweave items. Most of the items here are scarves. Those will run you 60 gold pieces. Those Glamourweave like items. Basically, what they can do is that like they have the ability that you can like, you can use them to create an effect. So like if you're wearing this scarf, you could like use it to create the effect that like the scarf basically like bursts into flame and you were like wreathed in flame, or it like limited only by your imagination, basically. Like you can make it like create a glamour and illusory effect, and once per day you can like use that to give yourself advantage on like a persuasion or intimidation check, aided by the like effect of like having a cool like thing going.
That seems something I would definitely use.
Sure.
So I'm gonna get those.
You grab one of those. Celia, you were looking at these acorns. Nuri Rattlesnap says like, if you want to buy any of these, be very careful with them. I don't recommend using them in enclosed spaces.
I'm gonna put one on the ship.
She says I don't really know what most of them do. I mean they all do the same thing. They'll sprout into a fully grown plant when planted, pretty much instantaneously. But I don't really know the genus or species of any of the plants imbued into those seeds. So it could be like a daffodil, or it could be like a 900-foot dawn redwood. So be warned.
Do any of the seeds look familiar to me, or am I getting like any magic vibes from the detect magic that some of them are like maybe a little zesty, like maybe a little spicy?
No, because I think that goes against the mechanic that I've set for these, that I just have like a
Yeah.
D100 plant table that I roll on when
I
you
didn't know if
throw one
anyone
of these
was
in the
like
ground.
a really evil plant. or,
No,
like, a
they all
really
look
cool-
like exactly identical acorns.
Okay, damn. Okay, I
Vampiric tree blight.
pick up. I get 5 of them, and my 5 gold that I have
Okay.
is they're 5 gold each. I don't know if this is chat gold. I don't know if it's Ignean or Mythlindian gold.
I would say chat gold would be Mythlindian gold, as it is
Okay, then I get 1 acorn.
that's sort of the standard. Okay, so you get 1 acorn. You get 1 acorn. She like looks at you and she goes like, eh. And she gives you a second acorn.
Okay,
So
I
you get 2
2
acorns
acorns.
because she likes you. Okay. So
Yuri, do you have anything? I mean, I haven't seen anything while I was perusing, but do you have anything that can kind of, I don't know, something that has a watchful eye? Or something that can perceive? I mean, see, we have a ship, and we have a crab problem.
if you have crabs, you probably need to go to see Sandra Cat at the ward.
No, not those
No,
kinds.
bigger ones. Bigger crabs, bigger.
An actual crustacean.
Yes, crabs.
You have
But like imbued with the spirit
Not
of
saying
revenge.
crabs. It's not clarifying anything. X's.
So what I'm gathering is you want some sort of a security system, an unseen sensor, an arcane eye, something of that nature?
Or something to exterminate crabs if you have it.
I mean, or some. I can
yes.
certainly whip up something to exterminate crabs, but something tells me that if you
Probably
have
security system's the better bet, but you know.
the crab thing seems like it might be a symptom of a bigger issue, but I don't have anything on hand, but I can certainly whip something up if you give me a little bit of time.
Sure, that'd be great.
Oh, well, no problem. She says, well, I'll get to work on that. I hope you enjoy and use your purchases responsibly. Please do not throw any of those, acorns down within the confines of the city. I will get into a lot of trouble, and, I already had an incident with a sort of automatic chimney sweeping. Let's just say I was trying to do a public service, and a lot of people did not appreciate an automaton that looked like Dick Van Dyke going into their houses and cleaning out their chimneys. So I'm kind of on timeout from causing widespread arcane trouble in the city. So maybe just save those for somewhere else.
Like who?
What did I say?
You said something that didn't that sounded unsavory.
Hang on a second. You're making me second guess things.
No, you went right over his head.
Now listen. First of all, I was right. Second of all, how dare you besmirch one of the greatest entertainment icons of this or any generation, the Archmage
Richard Van Dyke.
Richard Van Dyke. She says, well, I will get to work on your arcane eye. I'm sure you have much of our beautiful city still to explore. So if there's nothing else that you need, I will package up your purchases for you and set you on your way.
Just one question, Uri. And I point to the golden sparrow whistle shelf that's empty.
Yes.
What did that do? The name is interesting.
It was sort of an item that I enchantment. There's a certain frequency that messenger sparrows operate on. I devised a whistle that was able to mimic that frequency, and basically it worked to summon a messenger sparrow to the blower of the whistle if one was within earshot. Some folks came in here a few months ago and purchased it, and I've yet to make a new one.
Does it intercept them if somebody else has sent them?
No, the enchantment's baked into the creation.
That's what I was thinking.
The messenger sparrows makes them quite intemperable. I mean, not you could shoot it with an arrow and kill it and intercept it that way, but the message would be quite irretrievable.
I was wondering if it had something to do with the messenger sparrows. That would have been useful, I think. well.
Give me enough time and I can make another one for you.
I don't know if I need it just yet, but perhaps I'll talk to you again in a day or so about it. I need to think. I don't want you to waste your time unless I really need it.
I sold one once. Maybe I'll get cracking on making another one. If you don't buy it, someone else will, I'm sure.
Curiosity, how much for the self-cleaning pots and pans?
Ooh, let me look. 30 gold pieces for a set.
That's like 6 of my gold. I look at the group. Do you think Grohl would like these?
Probably.
You are friends with him. You would know better than us.
Yeah, I'm buying Grohl the pots and pans. Everyone else bought something but me. I'm buying the pots and pans for Grohl.
Okay. So you buy those pots and pans. You guys begin to like make your way out of the.
Make it away.
Make your way downtown. As you guys exit the shop, she says, "Be
can't
sure to
do it
come back
tonight."
soon."
I know.
Riker, dear, take good care of them. Make sure to see them around the city. I'm sure if they're mixed up in something with Adrian, and well, I'm sure we haven't heard the last of it. But enjoy the city until then. Oh, I almost forgot. She points at you, and like her face is like becomes like deathly serious. She says, "Do not, if you value your lives, leave those pebbles unattended together."
Why?
What do they do?
Just don't. Have a good day. Poof, and she closes the door to the sanctum.
Does that mean that we cannot sleep in one room together?
Nah, we're probably
I
fine.
think she meant like don't put him in a pile and leave him alone.
Yeah, just don't leave them unattended.
Then wait, do you
Okay.
want to put your rock into a pile with my rock as soon as we get to the inn?
Well, then with that preparation for next session, that is where we'll leave tonight's session as we're going over time a little bit. We need to wrap it up. Okay. I had a suspicion that you guys were gonna need quite a bit of extra time to do Terra Libra, and I was right.
Whatever amount of time you think we need to do something, multiply it by
Double it.
like 6.
Double it. No, very good. I'm glad. You guys definitely did some things that like the other group did not do when they came here that I'm glad that you looked at. I added some things. I fleshed out the city a little more to like be, some stuff for you guys. Obviously the zoological and botanical thing is the thing I put there for
We're
for
definitely
you guys
gonna
in
go.
case you want to
together.
look at it.
Yeah,
If there's
I'm excited to
dinosaurs,
go there.
let us see
The
them.
dinosaurs!
We'll see what's there. Okay. So yes, we'll figure out. I'm gonna have to kind of do some finagling and talking with the groups to figure out how we're gonna proceed forward with on and off sessions and stuff like that. But yes, as suspected, I think I was pretty sure that this gang was gonna need some time to do the city proper before we push things along too far. So anyway, thank you guys for playing tonight. Thank you at home for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the session. And I want to thank
you,
our
Matt.
sponsors. Yes, of course. I want to thank our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle Games. Of course, thank you to Proficiency Bonus for hosting us every week. Be sure to check out all of the other shows that we have on the channel, basically all nights of the week. You can tune into some fun stuff. I don't think I have any other announcements. So with that, thank you. We bid you farewell, and as always, we will see you next Tuesday.
Love you, bye. See you next Tuesday. Bye.